UEFA Champions League official sponsors. And Heineken, UEFA Champions League official sponsors.
To the left of Dembele. Could he recognise that early on and get across and force him back the pitch? Maybe so, but as we run it on, we can see Dembele's checked his shoulder. He knows there's space in behind him. Now Arsenal are on the back foot as opposed to being on the front foot, trying to put the high press on. I think they've got a lot of bodies back here, Arsenal. I don't think, I question Declan Rice and Marina, the two Arsenal centre midfielders here. In the modern game, we always know players are looking for this cut back to the edge of the box. He's got a lot of time there, Dembele, to size that up. decent enough finish, but just clinical in terms of how they get from one end of the pitch to the other.
Decent finish though.
I think it was an unbelievable finish. He's tested him really with that pass back to him, bobbling it into him to keep it down and slot it into the corner off the post.
I think what I was going to just question, sorry Shane, was Declan Rice's movement, because he actually was with Dembele, wasn't he? And he sprinted to probably Kvaratskhelia because he's so good. He thought he had to double up on him, but then the space opened up for Dembele, didn't it?
It's a typical one for that. Don't be overly critical of Declan Rice there. He holds on to Dembele. Kvaratskhelia drops the shoulder into him but puts it in the goal. You're screaming at your midfielder, wouldn't you get over and double up? Unfortunately, Odegaard couldn't get back quickly enough. Just think Marino there, the other centre midfielder, can he sense the danger? That defensive mentality, we spoke about Partey in there. Potentially Partey sees that, reacts quickly and gouts out there. Marino not so much.
So they're on the rack a little bit early on. There was a big penalty shout. Shay, what did you think of this?
Well, I think it's a penalty. I really do. Kenny might disagree as an ex-defender, but Kvaratskhelia, we talked about why did Declan Rice jump. Do you know why? Because this guy's so good on the ball. We spoke about it before the game. There's 3 Arsenal players around him at this stage. I think he's through the space here. I mean, Rice mops up the thing. I don't think Timber knows Rice is there. He's clearly put his arm across him and stopped him getting into the space. I think he's gone here. You know, he's actually wrapped his arm around him. I think he's very, very lucky to get away with that.
No, I don't think it's a penalty. He is very lucky, you're absolutely right. He knows he's done on the inside, but to be fair to him, he doesn't grab his jersey, he doesn't wrap his arm around him.
He does wrap his arm around him, don't lie.
But he lets it go quick enough. You're entitled, it's a physical contact sport.
Yeah, you have to put your arm out, but you can't wrap your arm around somebody like that. It's a penalty.
You can put your arm across him and use that upper body strength and try and impose
yourself. He didn't wrap his arm around him, he just did. We just watched him wrap his arm around him.
Yeah, but you're allowed to, as long as you let go quick enough. If you hold it there, if you hold it then you impede him, you stop his forward momentum. I understand that. I just think there's a thin dividing line there. I think he let go quickly enough. I think Kvaratskhelia, when he felt the contact, he was looking to go down.
Kenny says no, Shay says yes. We'll move on to the next penalty appeal, Shane, because this one was waved away quickly enough. I think for her to look at it, you feel there might have been something in this for Arsenal?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it's a good tackle. He does really well to get back in time and make the challenge. But I think just before he actually gets the ball, his trail leg catches Marino's striking leg.
Yeah, there's a really good angle coming up in a moment.
Yeah, it's just coming up here now. If you can see it here, he just like, it's minimal. It's like right now and then ball. So he does catch the player first. It's one of them. If the referee gives the penalty, I think it stands because he does catch the player first. But I don't know if he'll overturn the decision for that.
No, well, it didn't happen for them anyway, and not much was happening for Arsenal for a lot of that half. They did get going towards the end, and they'll hope for a lot more in the second. We're back after these.
Very specific quality that is extremely hard to find. And that thing is the ability to dress up and go to a Renaissance fair and not have their masculinity a threat. Do y'all know how hard that is to find in 2025? When the Renaissance fair rolls around every year, I mourn the fact that I'm straight. Okay, I finally figured out why I've been single for so long and why I will most likely stay single for quite some time. And that is because I have one very harsh requirement for my man. Let's get dressed for Coachella Day 3. I had the strong feminine urge to dress like a pirate today. I feel like this white skirt is gonna get dirty, so we're gonna go with a monochromatic look. Y'all are gonna call me insane for this, but I have 3 pairs of the same exact sport. Okay, this is more like Viking core, I guess. For shoes, we have 2 options. Fringe cowboy boots, or knee-high moccasins that I overnight shipped from Australia for 99 bucks. Okay, we are undeniably going with the moccasins. Oh, they're so good. Okay, yes. Before accessories, I have to add my highlighter up here. Oh my god, this is so Bridgerton of me. For my necklace, I am so indecisive. I could do this one. This one's a little too crazy. This is my Little Mermaid Vanessa necklace. I also have this one. This one's the most unique, so I'm probably gonna do this one. These are my sunnies. They match the vibe of the outfit. And the Texas girl in me needed a cowboy hat, so last but not least, look at how perfect this fan is. And here is my purse. Life hack, clip the strap onto the zipper so people can't open it when it's on your arm. Day 3, baby! Final outfit check. Let's get dressed for Coachella Day 3. I had the strong feminine urge to dress like a pirate today. I feel like this white skirt is gonna get dirty.
Fun fact, the Great British Kettle Surge was a phenomenon that existed in the UK before streaming services, where millions of people would all turn on their kettles during the commercial breaks of popular TV shows and drain the British power grid. So the TV networks and the Power Authority had to work together to plan out commercial breaks, along with how many people were watching those shows, so that when the commercial break hit, they could supercharge the power grid and make sure they didn't have a countrywide power outage during tea time. The National Balancing Engineer was in charge of this surge. He would sit in a control room with a map of all the high-powered electrical connections across the UK and would watch TV waiting for the commercial breaks. When the commercial break hit, he would monitor this frequency grid, trying to keep the line as close to 50 as possible. When the approximate 1.5 million kettles all turned on at the same time, he would turn on hydroelectric dams to supercharge the power grid. And then when all the water was boiled, he would turn off the dam again, restoring electrical balance to the power grid. Fun fact, the Great British Kettle Surge was a
Is football too obsessed with body fat? You see, many managers have a traditional view when it comes to players' body composition, or how much of their body is fat, bone and muscle mass. Jose Mourinho recently criticised Alain Saint-Maximin for his weight, while Pep Guardiola called out Calvin Phillips after the 2022 World Cup. Some managers even go so far as to have public leaderboards for body composition, and others will test players' body fat on a weekly basis. But is this approach outdated? Well, some have argued that the numbers-based approach has removed individuality when it comes to understanding body composition. Others have also argued that measurements for body fat are inaccurate as they don't account for things like variance in skin pliability. Attempts have been made to address this through the introduction of more accurate DEXA scanning machines. But a 2024 study found that 81% of players at a Premier League club were not meeting guidelines for the amount of carbohydrates needed to fuel them for a game, and many are going on diets to satisfy managerial demands rather than doing what their own bodies require. Is football
Things that may never happen again in football history. Back in 2016, something absolutely wild happened in English football. Leicester City, a team that had just come back to the Premier League the season before, were expected to be fighting just to stay up. Most people thought they'd be lucky to finish mid-table, but what happened next is honestly unbelievable. You see, before the season started, Leicester were 5,000 to 1 outsiders to win the Premier League. That means if you bet just $1 on them, you'd win 5,000 if they pulled it off. Nobody thought it was possible, as their squad was made up of players that bigger clubs didn't want, and their manager, Claudio Ranieri, had just been fired from his last job. But then, something crazy started happening. The thing is, Leicester just kept winning. JB Vardy, their striker, broke the Premier League record by scoring in 11 games in a row. Riyad Mahrez was dribbling past defenders like he was in a video game, and N'Golo Kante seemed to be everywhere on the pitch at once. They were looking incredible and taking everyone by surprise, but the real shock was still yet to come. As it turns out, while all the big teams like Manchester United, Chelsea, and Manchester City kept slipping up, Leicester just kept getting results. Week after week, people wanted them to fall apart, but they never did. Their defense was rock solid, and they played with so much heart that even neutral fans started cheering for them. They kept this crazy form up all season long, but then the moment that made history finally came. What I mean is that with 2 games left in the season, Leicester City were officially crowned Premier League champions. They finished 10 points clear at the top, and the whole football world went absolutely nuts. Their players were celebrating in each other's living rooms, and fans flooded the streets of Leicester, and the whole world had just witnessed the craziest underdog story in
And a European semi-final, Cup Winners' Cup, 93-94. Kevin Campbell, decisive, as Arsenal went on to reach the final. Right now, it's Paris Saint-Germain's night. Thanks to Ousmane Dembele's goal, and Mikel Merino's down with a head injury, and the referee blows the whistle.
Brilliant header. Yeah, against Merino. There's no foul there at all.
João Neves clearly feels hard done by.
Yeah.
Told has actually been shown a yellow card. So Declan Rice over this now. Martin Odegaard's been swinging these in.
Ran over to the sideline, obviously got the instructions from the coaching bench to change it. I'm surprised he hasn't been on it from the beginning.
Rice clipped and accurate, and it's easy. Mikel Moreno holds his arms aloft. Arsenal have got their equaliser. PSG complain, but little surprise. With Arsenal royalty up in the stands, and it's come from a set piece.
Well, Marino won the foul, which wasn't a foul in my opinion, and he wins the key contact from a beautifully floated delivery from Rice. They all get back on side. Donnarumma, for the size who's left in absolute no man's land in terms of coming for it.
Well, I can tell you they are checking for a potential offside leading to the goal here.
My initial reaction there is, well, it's not Marino that's in the offside position, it's another Arsenal shirt. I couldn't quite see who it was in terms of trying to get back. We said about PSG are quite brave in terms of holding that relatively high line.
The check is ongoing here, and we'll see if Mikel Moreno has another big goal for Arsenal after that sweetest of strikes against Real Madrid. But all the pre-match talk about set pieces, unsurprisingly, coming to fruition in the game itself. Semi-automated offsides as well in the Champions League, let's not forget. Has been the case for a little while now. It's the shoulder of Marino beyond any last remaining PSG player. Kvaratskhelia perhaps playing him on.
It's Martinelli who certainly is the one who looks like he's in the offside position. The question will be whether or not Marino gets back on side as the contact into the Rice is made.
A long wait for these Arsenal supporters. Will they get to enjoy the same moment all over again?
Nail-biting moments.
This must be exceptionally tight. This one has not gone Arsenal's way. Offside is the decision. And it remains Arsenal 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1. Confirmation from the video assistant, this was offside. And given it's that much, you're surprised it took so long.
Why does it take that long? We're led to believe that semi-automated will make that decision relatively quickly.
Well, those scenarios like that for Moreno are going to be a compelling watch now for the remainder of this game. Are they going to keep holding that line like that? I'll argue it's paid off for them there.
No, you take that as a positive in terms of how they did that defensively. It was so like, you can't get affected by Arsenal. That's what you often see the opposition. It happens. They get panicky, the opposition players, and they start dropping deeper, and it's the chaos that Arsenal take advantage of.
Moreno is everywhere at the moment.
He is.
And we got that Declan Rice roll.
Think about him. 13 games since he was pushed into that centre-forward position, 6 goals, 4 assists. That felt a massive moment for Arsenal. Playing in that deeper midfield role, but he still gives you that real presence, that real threat when he is in the